You know that feeling, right? That sudden, heart-pounding jolt of panic? You've got a deep splinter, or a kid swallowed something they shouldn't have, or there's that horrible buzzing of a bug in someone's ear. Our first instinct is always to do something. But what if that gut reaction is the absolute worst thing you could do? Well, today, we're going to look at some of those common first aid fails and figure out the right way to handle these everyday emergencies.
So let's just start right there. Picture it. A little button battery is missing from a toy, and you have that sinking feeling a child might have swallowed it. Or a bug flies right into someone's ear canal. What is your immediate first move? Go on, take a second. If you're pausing or you're not 100% sure, you are not alone. And trust me, knowing the right response here can make all the difference in the world.
All right, let's dive in. Our first section is all about what we call foreign objects, which is really just a fancy way of saying, stuff that gets stuck where it absolutely should not be. We're talking eyes, ears, noses, and yeah, even under your skin.
So check this out. It's so tempting, isn't it? The first thing you want to do when something's in your eye is rub it. But that is the #1 thing you should not do. Seriously, you could scratch your cornea or even push the object in deeper. The right move, if you can actually see the speck, is to gently flush the eye with some clean water. But if it feels like it's really in there, just cover the eye and let a professional handle it.
And it's pretty much the same deal for ears and noses. You're probably starting to see a theme here. Don't go poking around. Trying to fish out a lodged object yourself almost always makes it worse. You just push it further in and can damage some really delicate tissue. Now, there is one small exception. If it's an insect in the ear, you can try gently pouring in a little bit of lukewarm water. But for anything else, just stop and go see a doctor.
Splinters seem pretty straightforward, don't they? And hey, most of the time, they are. Clean the spot, use some clean tweezers, and pull it out. Easy. But you've got to know when to call it quits. If that splinter is buried deep, if it's over a joint like your knuckle, or if it just keeps breaking apart when you try to grab it, that's your cue. Your job is done. It's time to let a doctor take over. Okay, now for something a little more intense, the embedded fishhook. This is one of those moments where it's super easy to freak out. I mean, that little barb on the end is literally designed not to come out easily, which is a real problem when it's stuck in your skin. So let's just be crystal clear. The safest, smartest option is always to see a healthcare professional. But let's say you're out in the middle of nowhere and getting help isn't an option. There are two main methods. On the left here, you've got the string pull method. It's a quick, firm yank to pop the barb out. And on the right, there's the push-through method. You literally push the hook all the way through the skin until the barb comes out the other side, snip the barb off, and then back the hook out. Just be warned, both of these require a very steady hand and a pretty strong stomach.
And this brings us right back to that swallowed object. Now, this is one of the most important rules you will ever learn. Your gut might scream, "Get it out, make them throw up." But look at this. The instruction is absolute. Do not induce vomiting. Forcing something sharp or corrosive back up can cause a whole second injury on the way out. The right move is to find out exactly what was swallowed and get medical advice immediately.
And that's actually the perfect lead into our next big topic, poisoning. In these situations, every single second counts, and having the right knowledge before something happens can literally be a lifesaver. Okay, take a good look at this number. This right here could be the most important thing you take away today. This is the national number for the Poison Control Center. I'm serious. Pause this and put this number in your phone right now. It's your direct line to an expert who can walk you through exactly what to do when you need it most.
And wow, this table is a pretty stark reminder that some of the biggest dangers are things we see every single day. I mean, antifreeze can cause catastrophic organ damage. We've already talked about button batteries, but the risk of fatal internal burns is just terrifying. And things that seem almost harmless, like laundry pods or even adult-strength iron pills, can be incredibly dangerous, especially for kids.
So if you ever suspect poisoning, here's your playbook. It's simple. If they're conscious, try to find out what they took. Then, immediately, call 911 or that poison control number you just saved. Keep a close eye on them. If they happen to vomit on their own, save a sample for the first responders. And notice that last bullet point? Yeah, it's back, because it's that important. Do not make them vomit.
And look, the same thing goes for alcohol poisoning. Your job is to monitor the person and keep them warm. But here's the key. If you have any doubt at all about their condition, if their breathing seems off, if you can't wake them, don't hesitate. Call 911. It is always better to be safe than sorry.
Okay, let's switch gears and head to our final section,
bites, and stings. This one covers everything from what you might find in your own backyard to what's lurking at the beach, and these all require their own specific and correct response. For most animal bites, and yep, even human bites, the first steps are pretty much always the same. Step 1, and this is huge, wash that wound really well with soap and water. That's your best defense against infection. Step 2, cover it with a clean, sterile dressing. And step 3 is totally non-negotiable. You have to follow up with a doctor. The biggest dangers here, like tetanus or rabies, are the ones you can't even see.
All right, now for ticks. With these guys, your technique is everything. You need to get fine-tip tweezers and grab the tick's head, not its body, as close to the skin as you possibly can. Then pull straight up with steady, gentle pressure. No twisting, no jerking around. And here's a little pro tip. Save the tick in a plastic baggie. If symptoms show up later, doctors can test it. And then, you guessed it, get medical advice.
A snake bite, that is a full-blown emergency. Your job here isn't to treat the bite itself, it's to manage the situation until the real help arrives. That means getting the person to lie down, and most importantly, keeping the bitten arm or leg as still as humanly possible. Moving it around can actually speed up the spread of venom through their body. And of course, your very first move before anything else is to call 911.
And this is a great example of why you really need to know what you're dealing with when you're in the ocean. They both sting, sure, but the treatment is totally different. For a jellyfish sting, like you see on the left, you want to use vinegar first. That neutralizes the stingers. Then you use hot water for the pain. But for a sea urchin puncture on the right, skip the vinegar. Go straight to soaking it in hot water, and then you've got to see a doctor to get those fragile little spines removed.
So, we've covered a ton of ground, from tiny little splinters all the way to snake bites. And running through every single one of these scenarios, there's been this one consistent underlying theme, a single golden rule that is, without a doubt, your most important first aid tool.
So I'll ask you, what do you think it is? Really think about it for a second. What's the one piece of advice that ties together how you handle a swallowed battery, an embedded fish hook, and a serious poisoning?
The answer is right here. The single most important rule is knowing when you are out of your depth. Your goal in first aid is not to be a hero and fix everything on the spot. It's to do no further harm, to stabilize the situation as best you can, and to get that person to professional medical care.
And that's the real lesson, isn't it? Resisting that powerful urge to rub an eye, to induce vomiting, or to keep digging for a deep splinter, those acts of not doing something are often the most important first aid you can give. Sometimes the best help is just knowing your limits and stopping.
In the end, it really all comes down to this choice. In an emergency, you can let panic take over and just react, or by learning these simple principles, you can choose to be prepared. You can choose to have a clear head and a plan. And that choice, that can make all the difference. Thanks for watching.